bring to fore the heart of the matter. Mr. President, the heart of the matter in Nigeria today fundamentally is security. And let me begin coming from the assumption actually propoundly delivered by Professor. Section 11 of our Constitution, public order and public security. The National Assembly may make laws for the Federation or any part thereof with respect to the maintenance and securing of public safety, public order, and providing, maintaining, and securing of such supplies and services as may be designed by the National Assembly as essential supplies and services. Section 11. Mr. President, let me also go further. Section 80 of the Constitution, establishment of consolidated revenue fund. 81, they say all revenues or other monies raised or received by the Federation, not be revenues or other monies payable under the Constitution of any act of the National Assembly into any other public fund of the Federation established for a specific purpose shall be paid and form consolidated revenue of the Federation. And it goes like, no money shall be withdrawn from the consolidated revenue until the Appropriation Act of the National Assembly prescribes so. No money shall be withdrawn from any public fund of the Federation other than the consolidated revenue until the Appropriation Act prevails. What are we saying today? For the last 2 years or so, members of the National Assembly have been lamenting. And I like to have the attention of the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mr. Senate President, it is incumbent upon us by the motion ably presented today, let's put mirror into our faces. We are not representative of the global world. We are representative of Nigerians who elected us to come here. And therefore, whatever happens to us as Nigerians, we carry the burden. Mr. President, I took time to read some of our constitutional powers. And I would like to also recall your speech on the second session of the 10th Senate. And in your speech, you made mention of the fact that if security is the only thing this National Assembly will achieve, then it is all will go home and dry. Mr. President, 2 years down the line, what can we say is our achievement as a parliament? How many times, Mr. President, have we interrogated committees on defense, committees on navy, committee on air force, committee on police, committee on national security? These are committees that set out to achieve what the Constitution says we should achieve. Over the last 2 years, and you recall, Mr. President, too, when we were screening the service chiefs, here we raised a question, one of the questions that was raised to the Chief of Air Staff was, Chief of Air Staff, where is our Tucano? Where is our Tucano aircraft, fighter jet? And you also recall, this Tucano was purchased by no less than $1 billion borrowed. And the answer given to the parliament by the chief of air staff was, Tucano is in our domain, but we can no longer use Tucano because they have signed a contract which limited the operations of this Tucano. If you know ab initio that this Tucano has limitations, inhibition for usage, why in the first instance did you buy them? How much did you buy them? Who ordered the contract? Who did the procurement? Where are the Tucanos physically? Mr. President, we cannot, for having a divided
You see, Senator, you are protected.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, this issue of security is troubling, and day in, day out, we are losing our servicemen to this insurgent. Day in, day out, all across this country. It is not one state or that, it is almost all the 36 states of the Federation. And I'm not going to stand up and claim that the president is doing his best. The only time that we can say the president is doing his best is when we interrogate the implementation of the 2023 appropriation, the implementation of the 2024 appropriation as it pertains to security. You recall, Mr. President, the National Security Advisor was invited last year, and he came forward and told us point blank that not enough appropriation was released to the security apparatus. We are here in the very comfortable confines of Abuja, but I can tell you in a very short time, I'm not a pessimist, in a very short time, if care is not taken, these bandits that are running towns and villages in Benue, in Zamfara, in Sokoto, in Kebbi, are gradually moving into the close neighborhood of this city. Today, Mr. President, I can confirm to you authoritatively that you can no longer go to Kwali, go to Kubwa, and these suburbs beyond 9 to 10 o'clock in the evening because of fear of being taken away. And therefore, consequently, it is important, Mr. President, to acknowledge if we continue to keep on doing things without result and keep on doing them, we are not only deceiving ourselves, we are deceiving the people that sent us here to represent them. I am not sure whether the solutions has to do with creating a summit. First, Mr. President, we must be able to interrogate our committees in a session with the executive to come forward and inform us what goes into their budget 2023, 2024, 2025, and what comes out into the implementation of the budget. Secondly, I do not think it will be fair to the security chiefs if we just go ahead and do a security summit. We must interrogate them one by one, subjecting them to the findings of the appropriate standing committees. Committees are created to serve as liaison to the Senate. As a committee, you don't need to have an information and you sit on it. Sitting on it will not give you any desired effect. once you have security reports and the security architecture of this country, you could visibly see they are getting overwhelmed. Lastly, Mr. President, in the course of the interrogation, let's find how many number of military personnel do we have, how many are in the Air Force, how many are in the Navy, how many are in the Army, how many are in the police, how many are in the Office of National Security Officer, how many are in the NIA, and so on and so forth. We can't sit down and begin to believe that when we speak big grammar, it will solve the problem. It is much, much more than that. And Mr. President, like I said, during the speech, on the second session of the 10th Senate, the second session of the 10th Senate, this is a matter that you must lead. This is a matter that you must personally lead. It is not just enough to assign these responsibilities to committee chairman, because I don't like to assume that this committee chairman failed. But I would like to believe we have not called these committees to action, interrogate them enough to be able to find out what are they actually doing. And not only all this security committee, every committee, it is the responsibility of the leadership, of course under the leadership of the Senate leader, to interrogate committees. What do we do? What are we doing? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And then the chamber will also contribute. I believe speaking in this manner, in plenary like this, is not going to bring any solution. And I believe the points raised by Senator Jimo, they are apt, they are germane. But I believe Security Summit is not the solution. It's much, much, much more than that. We need to do our homework. We need to bring data. We need to go to see the president with that data. Lastly, sir, it makes people a lot of wonder about so many things going under the leadership of the Security Summit. I'm not questioning their integrity, but I believe the servicemen are not getting their due protection, their due appreciation. They are not getting their due. They are not being paid back. And you see, in the last 20 months, we have lost almost 520 service chiefs, all servicemen, all across our armed forces. For how long can we continue to lose them? And the thousands of people, thousands of Nigerians that have been kidnapped on a daily basis. It is no longer any issue. People come to house and they will just kidnap you. And when you pay, they release you. And nothing has ever happened because the security servicemen are incapacitated. They are handicapped. Finally, last week on my way out of Lagos, I met someone who told me there is a possible invasion of Mahmudawa, a security outfit, all the way from Mauritania, and they are getting into Kwara and Oyo, and they are beginning to settle down there. Today, sir, the entire suburbs of this city called FCT is surrounded by illegal miners. And you remember what put Zamfara at the core terrorist streaking area is mining. The entire gap between Abuja and Lokoja has been taken over by illegal mining. And they do it openly, clearly openly, and nobody questions them. And people are busy buying plots between here and Kuje and Lokoja, just because we were told there are minerals deposits there, and therefore the business has opened. And when you open that kind of business, make no doubt about that, the entire populace of this city is at risk. I shall submit, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, if you notice, the issue is whether or not we should have a security summit or a security retreat